we are creatures that have rights. We have right to everything. We have rights to life. We have rights to work. We have rights to, I mean, I come home, and I still say it, as also a counselor, I'll tell any young couple, and I tell my sons, you don't expect that you and a woman have gone out all day, and you come back home together, and then you want to cross your feet across the table. You both came in. It's just consideration. Let's even take away the issue of rights. It's just consideration that you should just do something. It's not as if you do everything, but something that just show that you're aiding and assisting. Just don't go sit down and say, because I'm the man, you know, you're the woman, so you go in there, go whip up something and let's eat. There's nothing wrong, and that is the sort of fears that we have. And so when a woman says, "I'm tired," and someone will say, "Excuse me, in my house." Now, those are things that bring all the conflict, and those are the things that women are crying for. In some tribes with culture, a woman can't own property. Why? Because she's a woman. Now, women are at the position where they can actually buy property. Some women cannot buy property, even with their own money. They have to find a man to own it in Nigeria. I'm not talking about in Nigeria. And so when we are saying these things, it's like, what are women talking about? And then we're talking about the issues of women. Only women can represent women issues. The men cannot, because first of all, they have no understanding of what are our issues. So we're talking about in the Senate, in the Rep, you know, in all the politics, we don't have enough women who would open up to talk about the things that affect women. And we have very few, we have women-friendly men, but we have very few of them in there that could say, this law that we want to bring out, let's look at the gender aspect of this thing we want to bring out. How is it going to affect the men? How is it going to affect the women? We need to think in that light.
And based on your interaction with couples in your sessions, and also outside in terms of your practice, what is the general consensus that you tend to take away from these discussions? Is it that things are becoming more receptive and people are beginning to accept that a bit more, or there's still a resistance to this?
I think people are beginning to accept a bit more. People are beginning to accept. There's actually change. The wind of change is blowing. But it's just like, it's so much. There's just so much, you know, to be done. We're like, so it's like, you know, those little drops, don't, you know, it seems like there are no drops, but there are drops. You know, it's dropping. It's a mighty, we want to build a mighty ocean. So they're just drops that are happening in, you know, little bits and little bit and little bit, because there's change going on. Because I meet young men who are like, why would I do that? Why would I do that to my wife?
How do men of this generation, because most of the things that I look at when I look at men is, okay, how it was before and how it is now. The men of this generation, how do you think they're responding to this?
I think a few of them are waking up to know that you treat a woman well. You see, why would women be crying for rights? If we're treated fair, we're not being treated fairly. And education is, you know, increasing. Women are getting learned. Even the village woman may not have what you call formal education. But there's some form of education going on. And people are waking up to, this could be better than this. I could get better treatments than this. And so why would I not get, if I can get better treatments, so I can push for certain things for myself. I can decide I want to have 4 babies and not more than 4. And I can say I can only want to have 2. Because I now know that if I have 4 almost, you know, back to back, it's at my detriment, not at the detriment of my husband. That's the truth. And so these are the things that are being, you know, that are happening. And so you're finding that there are actually men who begin to understand these issues.
And how are women? Okay.
And there are women also.
And how are women actually helping women out? That's what I was going to ask next.
Yes, because that's been one big thing. We always say women are the enemies of women.
Yeah, you get that a lot. But why?
But I think there's a lot of things, a lot of change happening. I, for one, if I meet someone who's doing something very well, a young lady, I'm ready to help. I'm ready to push on. I think a lot of mentoring is happening. I think a lot of young women are, you know, there's some kind of synergies happening with older women, with more professional women, more business women, successful women are beginning to do things to just bring, and a lot of things are happening that I'm very much aware of.
And in terms of women helping women out, do you think there's a lot more collaboration within women-centered organizations?
I think
or
there
there's actually a bit more friction within these
organizations? I think there is far better than before.
Okay.
I've been in this industry for like nearly 20 years now.
Only?
So, only. So I can tell you that from where we started and where we are now, there's quite a lot of difference. But there's still room for a lot of improvement.
Let's take a look at the women in in this time and age where you look at established institutions that are beginning to suffer. Mostly, I mean, number one is marriage. In terms of the cliched women looking for the Mr. Right and they never get that. Then you also have it spilling into the workplace, and basically women who have put at the forefront their career and their happiness, and any other thing that comes after that is now acceptable. But what is your take in terms of balancing the whole woman, if I can use that word? You have a lot of career-focused women now.
I think each generation has its own movement, seriously. I think there was a time in the history of the Americans that they married much earlier. And by the time, education began, the influx into more people getting, educated. And that changed. So you have women and even young men wanting to delay marriage, unlike a particular time where people got married early. And so we're just about like having that happening to us now. You're having women who were married at 30, late 20s, some even 40s, even 50s.
Even 50s.
Yeah.
I will not want.
I know. Yeah. So it's just about, it's not so much about women, just about the time. There's change. Change goes on, and so you find that women are delaying the issue of marriage, and then when they're making babies late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then,
fewer babies.
So yeah, we're having fewer babies, exactly. So we have not the baby boom.
Not the baby boom of before,
exactly.
Yes.
So that's exactly what we're seeing, and so it's just for us to understand the times and work with it. But it takes a bit hard for parents like myself.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing my children to get married by 40.
How old is your eldest?
My eldest is 34.
34.
I'm a grandma already. My first one gave me that. So, but the issue there is they need to plan well. We made a lot of mistakes. We don't think. We follow the trend. It's time to get married.
And what would be your parting word to any woman watching you, listening right now, in terms of our women bold for change, taking that next step?
I think it's a time to wake up. It's a time to step up the game. And the game basically is just that you're a person and there are certain things that are yours by right. And also, try to touch another woman, seriously. Help another woman. Pull up somebody else, no matter whatever level you are.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olufemi Kaide. Great to have you. We'll be back after the break on Rubbing Minds, and this time we'll be talking about some of the news-making rounds. Mr. President is back, the rearrest of Audu Maikore, and of course the airport is open. But is it so much good news? Has the transition been that smooth? We'll talk about that and much more after the break on Rubbing Minds. Stick around.
Just won't work.